2025, it's going to be 175 zettabytes.
Zettabytes. Can you?
Zeta. No, it's Zelda.
Yeah, Zelda.
Yeah.
Ocarina of Time, great game. Call of the Wild, also another good game. Can we we'll explain for some context how much size this is, because people enjoy this. Can you just read that whole sentence?
Yeah,
there?
for context, a zettabyte translates to roughly 1,000 exabytes or 1 billion terabytes, or 1 trillion gigabytes.
Okay, so
a petabyte or 1 million gigabytes equates to volume more than 3.4 years of 24/7 full HD video recording.
Yeah, so a zettabyte is 1 trillion gigabytes. That's a lot. That's a lot. It's a lot of space. And so 1 trillion gigabytes, and how many zettabytes are they saying is going to be 23.4?
No, 175 zettabytes.
Okay, so 175 trillion gigabytes of information.
Yeah, so they said multiply that capacity by 1 million, and that gives an idea of where our global data usage is heading.
Yeah, okay. So safe to say that it's a huge, incomprehensible size that doesn't make sense to a human's brain. But when you have something that's growing that much, you got to find an effective way to store it. And so you have cloud data storage centers. And by having something like that, it offers benefits for people that are data researchers. Okay, and they break down into a couple categories here. The first one is I don't have to rely on my computer in a little itsy bitsy processor to do something that tens of thousands of server racks with their own processing chips and GPUs can do themselves. So if I'm a researcher and I'm like, man, I really want to deal with this model. I remember when the early days of Google Earth came out, and I'm like trying to get this thing to the app to render.
It was so bad.
Yeah, I'm like, it's so cool, but it's so bad.
Yeah,
I'm like trying to zoom in. I'm like, show me a secret base. And then, but it's like trying to render this globe. But now what we can do is we can rely on all that stuff to be processed somewhere else.
Right.
Say, for instance, you're a video editor. Is that good for you?
Oh, yeah. It's good. How's it good for you?
No, it's great.
No, mine's tight. Is yours tight?
Yeah, it's all good. The for video editors, that takes a lot of processing time, and it beats the crap out of your computer. But now they have all these open source frameworks and online things that you can use the cloud and its processing power to actually render your videos for you and do your editing. So all you got to do is use a web browser to go on this online cloud tool and just work with that and do nothing on your own computer.
Yeah, and what I thought was interesting, I wonder with all this, by 2025, with that rate of growth.
4 years?
Yeah, is it going to be the same as obesity? Same rate of growth.
As data goes, obesity grows.
Yeah, that'd be a good data set.
Are people becoming more sedentary, or are we creating more devices, creating more data?
For those in South America, you guys got to stop eating.
Stop eating so much meat. Have you not realized since, large cattle operations have grown there and the cost of meat has become cheaper, your obesity rates have increased.
Oh, South America, I think it's the worst.
Bad. Yeah. It's bad.
Heart disease and all that stuff.
The data's right there telling you. The cow saying, moo, don't eat.
Yeah, and it's all the fried potatoes and then the big, they were showing plate sizes and then comparing them to different countries and stuff.
Yeah. And
it was amazing in South America, how large the plates were.
Yeah, I mean, if I go to, any sort of if I'm in Hoboken, New Jersey, or Jersey City, I'll go to a Brazilian place and I'll have a plate that's just enormous.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what am I going to do with all this?
Yeah, it's so delicious,
and
but
that's
it's
a
so bad for you.
Totally off topic.
I know.
And so another thing of this.
I just thought I would do a cool side note there, Alex. I like to keep the show exciting.
Let's keep it exciting.
I'm a simpleton. So I have to keep it, and I like to be funny sometimes.
Yeah.
So I have to keep. If we just talk about data and clouds and science,
no, it's a drag.
Yeah,
drag.
Who wants to watch this?
I want to know what's exciting. How does it accrue to the benefit of humanity?
I want you to know they said this: you cannot separate cloud computing from data science.
Well, yeah, you can, but is it effective for you to do so? No. And another benefit to this, if you're doing data science or anything that's processor heavy, you don't have to build a huge infrastructure to support this thing in sort of a local environment. If you're okay with having your stuff online in a decentralized format somewhere else, managed by a cloud infrastructure, and that's okay with your security protocols, then use it. I mean, some of our new observatories, like the Rubin Observatory we talked about, that's what they're moving into.
Yes.
Totally cloud computing. They're relieving the stress and cost of having an infrastructure specifically at site by a telescope and saying, we'll just use what Google has, you know? And then on top of that, you have a lot of other benefits with this thing called auto scaling. So I'm only going to pay for the amount of processing that I need, and it can fluctuate anywhere in between. So the variable pricing model has become much more effective for researchers, especially when they, only have grant funds.
Yeah, and what they were talking about, what I thought was interesting is when we're expanding the role of the cloud, is the amount of data continues to grow. So securely storing the data in a practical, cost-effective manner has become a priority. So I mean, we talked about the data centers and the REITs and, and how they're investing in all this. But really, when we look at a decentralized approach to the cloud and all this colossal data loads, when we look at that, it's like, what does the future look like for that?
Yeah, so I think the future looks like the model we use at TARTLE for our encryption standards. We have a lot of very private, sensitive information, and making sure that we can't read it and other people who try to access it can't read it is important. But it can't be so slow that it burdens the system down trying to decrypt these things. So
yes,
we've adopted, encryption standards that prevent us from looking at it, and only when an individual chooses to open up or decrypt that information, they do so. So like trying to attack our servers from the outside without actually facilitating a transaction and getting the okay.
Yes.
A user, when you're doing this, they have to physically decrypt by putting in like a passcode, like 4 digits. And that actually decrypts your data in the system for a specific time limit. But it's not burdensome. It's not burdensome on us. It's not burdensome on them, but it's an effective way for dealing with large amounts of data that are very private and allowing us to store it, effectively and being able to access it effectively for whoever that might be that needs the access.
I think why I'm so pro with this and why I'm getting excited about this is, and it goes right along with our philosophy here at TARTLE, in the geopolitical sense with emerging markets, we're looking at, it levels the playing field.
Oh yeah.
So it's not like, okay, I need to have this $10 million data center and all these racks of servers to be able to compete. Now a guy on a laptop in Bangladesh can compete just as well as somebody that's in Montreal.
Yeah, so lucky for us, we have these servers that are supporting this cloud infrastructure, and we've applied that to a tool where you can use it on a cell phone or a laptop or a tablet. And so the access is just huge. It's large, decentralized access that works agnostically across any sort of system. Talk about leveling the playing field. And, we have such great storage and encryption practices that, how do I put this? It becomes very difficult to take something that's not yours.
Right.
And so it's more conducive for people housing truthful information and putting things in there that they otherwise wouldn't put somewhere else. They feel comfort, safety in doing so.
Yeah, and I think another part that we're not looking at in a perspective of understanding this is that when we do, when we start looking at the cloud, then these companies provide tools. So because they're in competition, so they're going to incentivize the user. And so you have different software, you're going to have artificial intelligence tools, analytic tools, data visualization tools. All of these things are going to try to attract you as a buyer to be able to. So it's not just the storage aspect of it. There's going to be these other, like data visualization is huge.
Yeah.
If I'm presenting if I'm doing a TED Talk, I want to make sure I have
visuals.
Visuals.
This reminds me of data storage has become a commodity.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So, if you go to like an Exxon station, I don't know if you have it. I don't usually like going because it's more expensive. It's ridiculous because it's gasoline. We've been making it forever.
I use Costco or whatever.
But, they say, we have additive stuff into the gasoline to clean your engine. It's the same thing what's going on with cloud computing. Everybody and their mother has a cloud computing center with server racks. Now it's like, what little bit of open source software, what sort of additive can we put on there to make your engine more efficient? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and when we look at cloud computing and we look at the 3 different types of data, we have to understand that there's structured data, semi-structured, and then unstructured. And we talked about the lake house with that, dealing with unstructured data. But when we look at these 3 and then the silos and then the databases that each company has when these 3 levels, that's the problem. They don't know what to do.
They don't know what to do with it, and they're not incentivized to move it.
Right.
So a nice beneficial tool is like, okay, if we put on a cloud computing a cloud storage system, it's way more, it's more flexible. It's transient. It's more fungible for us to move it back and forth. And then if you incentivize them to say, oh, let's open up a data stream with this, let's collect some more stuff through TARTLE, or sell our data through TARTLE, that seems pretty beneficial. And now we don't have it locked up in a silo. We can effectively move it from place to place. Yeah. The access becomes flexible. So I can set up shop anywhere in the world. I don't just have to have it here at the company and just hop in through some, weird local VPN. It's like, I can be in Deutschland. I can be in Brazil eating all those steaks, or I can be, in Washington State.
Well, TARTLE also can become kind of SaaS-based because then it can become another tool that company can use when they become a part of this cloud organization.
As they should be doing. Yeah.
We're just another tool that helps you take that, semi-structured, unstructured data or even your structured data, and then be able to go to those people and ask the right questions.
Yeah, and then improve upon your data sets. And then after you've improved it, you can go back and resell them.
Yeah, and then the data scientists can come and say, oh, okay, well, we have these questions. Yeah. We've gone through and we've sifted through the data, and here's where we're at, and here's where we're stuck. So let's use TARTLE to answer these questions.
Yeah, you ever seen the movie Spaceballs?
Yes. A long time ago, yeah.
Remember when they're combing the desert?
Yeah.
That's what I think about with the data scientists.
Yeah, that's kind of the same.
Have you found anything yet? We ain't found shit.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's so gleaning insights from data is kind of it's kind of like one of those mystery. It's like these data,
and it's like, what's the occult science?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the data scientists. They're almost taking this mumbo jumbo, and then they go to C-suite and say, here's our. We've come from. They have like, we are here.
They're robed up. They're like, we've had a seance.
Yes.
And this is what the data spirits have told us,
AKA a hunch.
Yeah, we have a hunch.
And here's where you should take millions and billions of dollars and put it towards this way.
And the C-suite's like, that's ridiculous. Go sign up on TARTLE.
Yes, exactly.